Good morning. It's Barry with Growing Roots Farm. How y'all doing? I've got the pigs moving right behind us. So we're on to paddock number 2. So let me turn around here. There's the pigs in paddock 1. Okay, that was hayfield, and it was kind of 50-50 hayfield and woods. Now we're moving in to paddock 2. We got the fences side by side. Go ahead and take that down. I may have to get the feed. This is our first time doing this. Capturing this live or in real time. Little trick here. Grab a little bit of feed. Watch where I'm going. And pour a little feed back here in the new paddock. Put a little feed on the ground, and then I need to get out of their way. They're still a little skittish around me. Once they get a little older and more familiar with me, they'll walk right beside me, or at least they did last year. Preston, why don't you set that stuff down? Let them walk into here. Okay, actually go in there behind them and kind of walk behind them to push them in. There's one up high up there too. Yeah, you can't really walk in there with those cedar trees. Here we are. Oh, come on down here. These little ones still don't know what they're doing. First move, all in all, it's taking us less than 3 minutes. That's all of them, isn't it? Yeah. Here, grab this. First move, getting these new pigs in to paddock number 2. 3 minutes total. Not a bad way to start. Now, I gave them a little bit of feed there just to kind of entice them because they don't know what they're doing. They've never had to transfer to another paddock before like this. So I'm going to put their feed. We tend to put their feed out here where we can get to it easier. We just make it easier on us. I can't remember if I've mentioned this. We use I hand mix it all. We use a mixture of whole corn, soybean meal, and oats. There's some other, we put some minerals and fish meal and stuff like that in there as well. And now they might just be exploring. Yep. This big one here, she's just kind of checking things out. All right. So we got them on to paddock number 2. Let me spin you around. So look at that. That's how well pigs will clear out a section. And keep in mind, they are very small. They're little feeder pigs right now. They're very small. They get even better at doing the clearing once they weigh 200 pounds. Okay, so, you know, we could bring like the goats in right behind them and clear out the rest of this, and that would work. We've talked about doing it before, but we have not gotten into that as of yet. But right now, the pigs are doing really well clearing. The only thing we do to clear, we use a brush cutter. I've shown in other videos, and we will brush cut about a 3 or 4 foot wide path for us to walk and set this fence in. The hardest part is gauging our distance. This right now is a 200-foot long fence, because we have two 100s put together. We did 3 100s last year, and that works well when they're a little bit bigger. I'll probably do that in a few weeks, few turns, but I think the 2 fence for their size right now works just fine. As you can see in our last paddock, I think it just kind of proves my point that the 2 fence is okay. Like they have rooted this up, they've cleared it, but it's not overly, the ground hasn't been beaten up too bad. You want disturbance, but you don't want it to be overly heavily rooted and kind of looking like it's a wasteland. You want disturbance for regrowth and for them to kind of uproot some of the seeds that are already in the ground. One thing I noticed back here, and if you're doing this is something that myself or one of the boys have to check every time. I'll show you here, see if I can get an example. Because we're in the middle of the woods and this is on a hillside, we get sections. That gap, I know it's hard to tell in the video, that gap right there is too tall. Some of our younger pigs could go right under it. So what we've done in the past is taken some logs and laid across there underneath, or we've taken some of the rocks and made a little bit of a rock wall. This was the same area. There's a little bit of a low spot that runs down this hill right in this area. We had the same issues with it last year, this one spot. It's mainly the only area, it's one of the very few areas in this woods that's like that, where it has a dip in the middle of it. But we'll get some barrier there so the pigs don't think they can go underneath of it. The rest of it, they got plenty of room. There, you can barely see, they're up here. They're up here. Now, a couple things about running pigs. You know, Pamela and I were out at Polyface Farms in Virginia at Joel Salatin's farm earlier this year. It's an amazing place. I've been out there twice. I just love going out to that place. It's an inspiring farm with the way they operate. It gives you a lot of inspiration to kind of take some of their techniques and move them over, which is where we got this technique. Although we do our fencing differently, but this is where we got our technique. The pigs out in the woods actually help with hunting properties, not reduce. The reason for that is that when the pigs are getting seeds out of the ground, or when they're rooting up, they're getting old seeds out of the ground. And what it's doing, they're clearing the land so that the good trees, like your oaks, your hickories, stuff like that, that drop nutrient-dense foods for, say, deer, so that they grow better. And what they found at Polyface is that, because this question was posed out there, they had a guy ask Joel Salatin about the about hunting. I can't remember the exact ways or phrase, but he asked about deer population with doing a large amount of hogs. Now this here isn't a large amount of hogs, but doing hogs in a rotational pattern out in the woods. And essentially Joel's comment was that once they got their system, and they started doing more of a silvopasture system, which we need to incorporate here. It would be clearing out a lot of the smaller junk trees and allowing the better oaks, hickories, cherries, stuff like that, walnuts, to kind of take off and grow. And from there, you end up getting more wild animals that come in, your turkeys, your deer. I'm talking specifically about hunting. You get more of that come in because there's a better food source for them. Whereas if you left it really dense and thick like this, it actually doesn't grow and produce as well of nutrients for the deer. So once you do that, they're actually more likely to come in. And that's what they found on their property, on their farm, is that more deer are coming in. So that's something we're trying to do here, is to create a little bit of that system here on our place. So this is going to change over the next few years. And we're not going to just kind of keep it where, you know, I'm looking out and it's just dense. I can see 30 yards or so, and that's it. We're going to make it to where you can see through most of this, but we leave the better trees, we leave the good stuff, and then we clear the other. And then as the seed comes up, we get a silvopasture, a much better use for this property than just a dense, thick, overly thick woods. So pigs are happy, we're happy. They're on to paddock number 2. They'll be here for 10 days, and then we'll move them on down the hill to paddock number 3. And, you know, people have asked me before, well, how do you handle the hogs? That's it. Well, you all just saw, we open up the fence and they walk in, and that was their first time ever doing that. Once they've done this a few times, pigs are smart. Plus, they smell food, they're going after it. They once they've done this a time or two, it'll be zero issues. Truthfully, in the past, we can't move the fence fast enough. They're like bolting to go to the next paddock. So that's it. That's moving pigs to the woods part 2, I guess. Or I don't really have a series, but it's paddock number 2. So thank you for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe, do all that good stuff. Talk to y'all later. Bye.